choosing a path like those on who grace was bestowed. To break the chain of the chattel through my lyrics, I battle. Follow him, I wanna be wise like Solomon. Without the downfall, the rich never found more.
In the last days, many false prophets are going to do signs and wonders, and if it were possible, which makes it impossible for the very elect to be deceived, they would be. They cannot be. If you're the elect, if you're saved, you cannot show me where you're unsaved in the Bible.
He says it's impossible for the elect to be deceived, and then clarified what he meant by that by saying, if you are the elect, if you are saved, you can't show me where you're unsaved in the Bible. Yes, I can. See, this is why we're supposed to read for ourselves, so people can't just say whatever they want. No, this is what the Bible says. The nation of Israel were God's elect, were God's chosen people. But all of the nation of Israel wasn't saved. They were chosen. Matter of fact, in Exodus 19, go to Exodus 19. This is when Moses was going to talk to God, and God was telling him, this is what I want you to tell the nation of Israel, the children of Israel. He said to tell them that they know what he did to the Egyptians and how pretty much he saved them and brought them to himself. He brought the whole nation to himself. But then he goes to say, if you, what did he say? If you obey my voice and follow my covenant, something like that. So this is to all of them. They were all elected by God. They were all chosen by God. But all of them wasn't saved. Romans 9:27 tells us that a remnant of them were saved. So if a remnant of them were saved, that means all of who God chose, the whole nation of Israel, wasn't saved. But they were elected though. And he said to show him where you're saved in the Bible and then unsaved. Okay. Isaiah 10:21. It talks about how a remnant would return to the mighty God. So if a remnant returns to God, that means they had to have been with him already at some point. You can't return to something that you never left, or you can't return to somewhere you was never there. So how do you return without ever leaving? Just think about that. And Paul, actually, I think it's Romans 11, Paul says that they were broken off. So that means that they were part of, you can't be part of a tree. I mean, you can't be broken off of a tree that you was never part of. So Paul tells us that they were broken off, and then the Gentiles were grafted in, but they were broken off because of their lack of faith. If they don't continue in that lack of faith, that God will graft them back in. This is what Paul tells us in Romans 11. I think he says, if they don't persist in their unbelief, God will graft them back in. So that means that they were saved, part of the tree, broken off, unsaved, but can still, return. Like Isaiah said in Isaiah 10:21, they can still come back. Like Paul said, they can still be grafted back in if they don't persist in their lack of faith. And he also says in that same chapter that even we can be cut off, that we need to continue in our faith or we also can be cut off. So it's telling us right then and there that we can be cut off, that we can lose our salvation, that the saved can become unsaved. So what are you talking about on this stage in front of all these people? Why are you saying this stuff? You don't look like somebody that can't get it? Or is it because you're trying to push? I don't know what you're trying to do. I'm not going to assume what you're trying to do, but you're wrong. This dude is wrong, and it seems like if you got a big following and if you get on the stage and if you put a suit on, more people are apt to listen to you. We don't need to be doing that. These people are just people, whether they got suits and ties on and on big stages or just somebody that's homeless speaking truth in a corner. God isn't a respecter of persons. We shouldn't be a respecter of persons either. The truth is the truth. And what this man was just preaching on a stage in front of a whole bunch of people is not the truth. I just read the truth straight from the Bible. But if you want to hold to this point of view or this belief, then tell me where I'm wrong, because all I'm doing is just reading the Bible. So please, Frank Turek and Frank Turek's peoples, deal with these verses. This once saved, always saved theology is the exact reason why we have fake Christians all over the world spreading a false gospel, living however they want to live. You know, Kai Cenat says he's Christian left and right. He's not a Christian. He does not know God. Or should I say God doesn't know him, or it could be both. But Revelation 3:16 says that the lukewarm will be spit out. So you can't be playing both sides of the fence, because when that day comes, you will be spit out. That's why this is the most evil doctrine to push. This is worse than Satanism, if that's what they call it. It's way worse, because people who practice that satanic stuff, they're wolves. But it's worse to be a wolf in sheep's clothing. That's what's going to deceive many more. The wolf in sheep's clothing. The so-called Christian preaching Christianity, and it has nothing to do with what the Bible is saying. It leads people astray. That's why I'm so hard on, that's why all I talk about is, you know, this false free gracer stuff. It's bad. It leads you straight to hell.